If I have a chance to knock him out, of course I will knock him out.
この試合は歴史的な試合になると思っていますので、
Anytime Inoue fights is a big fight because he's recognized around the world as the top pound-for-pound fighter.
Naoya Inoue's legacy fight took a dark, violent turn, and for the first time, the monster looked human. Marlon Tapales survived 10 brutal rounds, and just when it felt like everything could collapse, something unforgettable happened. Something dangerous was brewing in Tokyo. December 26, 2023, Ariake Arena wasn't just full, it was on edge. You could feel it in the silence before the storm, that nervous buzz that only shows up when the stakes are life-changing. This wasn't hype, this wasn't promotional noise, this was two unified world champions walking into a ring knowing only one of them would walk out with everything. On one side stood Naoya Inoue, the monster, already a legend, already undisputed at bantamweight. He wasn't just fighting at home, he was defending a legacy built on destruction. And across from him, Marlon Tapales, the southpaw executioner from the Philippines, the man who dismantled Murajon Akhmadaliev, a fighter many thought would rule the division for years. It wasn't just Japan versus the Philippines. It wasn't even just 4 belts on the line. This was the kind of fight that rewrites resumes and shakes up boxing history. Everyone expected Inoue to dominate, but what happened next? No one saw coming. So when that bell rang in round 1, everything shifted.
Already you see that hand speed on display from Inoue.
Tapales didn't hesitate. He didn't take a back foot. He came straight at Inoue. Throwing hard, throwing often. He didn't fight like a man trying to survive. He fought like a man who believed he could win. And for the first couple rounds, he did more than just survive. He disrupted the flow. He pushed Inoue back. He landed shots that got the Japanese crowd murmuring because that wasn't supposed to happen.
Tapales, who's all super bantamweight championship. Naoya Inoue.
That's what I mean. You can't just sit there and right in front of him looking at him.
Now, Inoue is many things, but impulsive isn't one of them. He didn't panic. He studied. He downloaded Tapales' patterns. He moved his feet, adjusted his angles. But let's be real. This wasn't the usual steamroll. This was a fight, a real one that could shift at any second. By round 3, Inoue started to heat up. He missed his trademark left hook early, just missed it by inches. But that wasn't the story. The story was what came next. Inoue lured Tapales forward, made him commit, and sniped with that brutal counter. Lightning fast, clinical. Just like that, the energy changed. Tapales flinched just once, but in a fight like this, one flinch says a lot.
Super bantamweight championship. Naoya Inoue in the white, red, and blue trunks. Marlon Tapales in the black and white trunks.
And yet, Tapales wouldn't fold, not even close. He kept pressing, kept firing, kept taking Inoue into those deeper waters. That's where things got dark. Not because Inoue was losing. No, he was still in control, but Tapales refused to go away. He took shots that would have dropped anyone else. That was the twist. The moment where it stopped being a boxing match and became a battle of wills. This wasn't a monster devouring prey. This was a monster being tested deeply. Tapales made him uncomfortable. And in front of his home crowd, with everything on the line, Inoue had to dig into places he hadn't touched in years.
Halfway through this round 2.
And look at the feet. Look where Tapales' feet are at.
But what made it all more intense was that every second counted. Every exchange felt like it could end the fight. The power both men were throwing with, it was unreal. Every shot had weight. Every punch was designed to finish.
Shots like that. Like I just said.
There's a left hand for...
And while the world waited for Tapales to finally collapse, to finally give, he kept throwing back. And for the first time in Inoue's career, people started wondering, what if this guy doesn't fall? What if this goes 12? What if this slips away? Because on December 26th, 2023, it wasn't just Tapales that showed up to fight. It was the nightmare. And for one long stretch of rounds, He almost dragged the monster down with him. Rounds 5 to 7 were chaos.
Tapales is marching forward. Nice body shot right in between the punches.
And blue trunks, Marlon Tapales in the black and white. Karan Bhatia on the call, joined by Jamel Herring.
But it's like I said earlier, if you know, he got caught. It's coming out with his hands down. But it's like I said earlier, though.
Both fighters were landing. Both were hurting each other. The shots weren't glancing. They were thudding. Heavy. Dangerous. Tapales was still charging forward, but now his head was snapping back more often. Inoue's timing was dialed in. His feet, always in the right place. His hands, lethal. You'd think Tapales would slow down, maybe get cautious, maybe just try to survive. Nope. He kept swinging, kept trading, even as his legs betrayed him, even as the crowd began roaring for Inoue. Even as every exchange became a question of how much more can he take, Tapales refused to fold. That's what made it terrifying, because yes, Inoue was clearly the sharper fighter, the faster one, the more accurate one, but Tapales wasn't going away, and that's where the danger lived.
With his arm, with his body, meaning that he's bending his knees, he's got the body movement, he's turning, the jab is finding more success. Now, you know what I'm saying, he's catching Inoue falling at times.
Because when you throw everything at a guy, and he's still standing, still fighting, that's when doubt creeps in. That's when great fighters are forced to reach deeper than they planned. And that's what was happening now. The monster had woken up, but the nightmare was still there.
Coming a slugfest.
There it is again. That's what you want to see in an undisputed fight.
By the time round 9 ended, something in the air had shifted. Not just the momentum, but the mood. It was no longer the upbeat, confident energy of a hometown crowd watching their golden boy cruise toward another highlight reel. The arena felt different now. Heavier, like everyone inside was holding their breath and bracing for something none of them expected to see. Because right there, under the brightest lights, the monster had finally been pushed into deep waters. And the man dragging him there wasn't slowing down.
Nice 1-2 shot from Tapales.
The left hand got through for Tapales.
Nice combination.
And right now, this distance, this pace.
Tapales had just survived a knockdown that would have left most fighters twitching on the canvas. A savage left hook from Inoue, pure violence, launched with bad intentions, landed flush. Tapales crumpled, and for a split second it looked over. But then the bell rang. Not metaphorically, literally. The round ended before Inoue could finish the job. Tapales wobbled back to his corner like a man who had seen the edge of the abyss and somehow climbed back out. Saved by the bell wasn't a cliche that night. It was the only reason Tapales was still in that ring.
These are hard shots by Naoya Inoue. Big left hand to the head. Here comes Inoue, the monster. Left hand, right hand, Tapales is down.
And that's when things got strange, because most fighters, after taking that kind of punishment, would play it safe. They'd retreat, clinch, run, stall, anything to stay upright. Tapales did the opposite. He came forward, he kept throwing, he kept walking into the fire, and you could see it in Inoue's body. This wasn't going how he thought it would. The rhythm wasn't clean. The domination wasn't happening. And for the first time in a very long time, Inoue didn't look like a myth. He looked human. His footwork, usually so fluid and efficient, started to show effort. His breathing became more deliberate. The constant head movement slowed. Tapales had done something few men have ever done. He made the monster look mortal. And the Japanese crowd, loyal as they were, began to grow quiet. You could feel the tension in the silence. The fans weren't cheering anymore. They were watching nervously, whispering, exchanging glances. It was like they were witnessing a moment too close for comfort, like a secret fear coming to life.
Hands upstairs.
But it's like I said earlier, if you know, he got caught.
Because let's be honest, Inoue isn't used to resistance. Not like this. He's used to breaking opponents before the 6th. He's used to fighters folding, emotionally and physically. But Tapales wasn't breaking. In fact, he looked like a man who had accepted whatever ending came his way, as long as he could bring Inoue into the darkness with him. And, for a few rounds, it looked like he might just succeed. Then came round 10.
From the Ariake Arena in Tokyo, Japan, undisputed.
Inoue came out looking different. Not angry, not desperate, just quietly locked in. That's the thing about great fighters. When the edge gets close, they don't explode. They go still, cold, focused. Tapales, still charging forward with heart and hellfire, didn't realize he was walking into a trap that had been calculated over 9 full rounds.
Backed up Tapales. And can he beat the count?
The first right hand landed like a hammer. Not a wild punch. Not flashy. Just perfectly timed, short, clean, and straight through the target. Tapales didn't fall right away, but his body betrayed him. His knees buckled, his balance shifted. He staggered like someone hit the off switch behind his ear, but he stayed on his feet. So Inoue fired again.
And you notice at times when he puts his hands up like that, Inoue would throw a shot and then he'll, ooh.
Big right hand there, back.
The second right hand, harder, faster, and with surgical precision, ripped through Tapales' high guard and clipped him on the temple. That was it. That was the moment everything shut down. Tapales fell to his knees, eyes glassy, legs done, brain clearly trying to reboot, but getting nothing back. It wasn't the kind of fall that ends in protest. It was the kind that says, I've got nothing left.
He is the winner by way of knockout. He is now the undefeated, undisputed super bantamweight champion of the world, Naoya.
The ref waved it. The medical team rushed in. But what stuck with people was what happened next. Or rather, what didn't happen. Inoue didn't celebrate. No scream. No leap onto the ropes. No flexing for the cameras. He just stood there, breathing, silent, like the weight of what he'd just done hadn't even registered yet. Or maybe it had registered too deeply.
To be undisputed in multiple weight divisions in the modern era. History made here in Tokyo.
Because that wasn't just another win. That was the kind of finish that erases men. That leaves scars. That ends careers. And somewhere in that quiet moment, standing over a man who wouldn't die until the very end, Inoue didn't look relieved. He looked haunted. And then the legacy piece kicked in. The numbers speak louder than any chant. With that win, Naoya Inoue became the first ever undisputed super bantamweight champion in boxing history. Let's say that again. First ever. Just 1 year after cleaning out bantamweight and unifying that division, he climbed up, took all the belts again, and solidified his spot in boxing's most elite air. That makes him just the second man in modern history, alongside Terence Crawford, to become undisputed in 2 weight classes.
いやもう今もうワクワク感いっぱいで、はい、もう明日計量で明後日だけど、もう待ち遠しいだけの一言ですね。
See, Inoue wasn't just chasing another win, he was chasing something far more rare. A second undisputed crown, this time at 122 pounds. Only one other man in modern boxing had done that, Terence Crawford. Inoue had already demolished the bantamweight division, KO after KO, champion after champion. People weren't just getting outboxed, they were getting erased. His KO rate in world title fights, 90.4%. Let that sit for a second. That's the highest in the history of world title bouts. Think about how many greats we've seen. Now think about what it means to top all of them. But when he moved up to super bantamweight, things got serious. This wasn't a division full of punching bags. These were heavy hitters, bigger bodies. And yet, Inoue walked through them. He took Stephen Fulton, the unbeaten American champ, and destroyed him. Inoue's precision, speed, and power translated perfectly. So naturally, fans thought Marlon Tapales would be more of the same. Another name, another highlight, another man to collect. Except he wasn't. Tapales wasn't some overhyped contender. This was a guy with 20 knockout wins. This was the guy who ended the reign of Akhmadaliev, a fighter many believed had no equal, at 122. Tapales didn't win on the scorecards. He didn't rely on judges or lucky calls. He outfought and outlasted the boogeyman. That's how he became a two-belt unified champion. And he wasn't giving those belts up quietly. Tapales had been through the fire. Now he was walking into Inoue's home country with zero fear and everything to prove. They called him Baby Pacquiao, not just because he was Filipino, but because of his relentless pressure, his explosiveness, and that mean streak. He wasn't flashy, he was deadly. And just when you think the man's done making statements, he goes and takes Tapales' nickname too. After that night, no one dared call Tapales Baby Pacquiao again. That name, it belonged to the monster now, because he didn't just beat Tapales. He absorbed his fire, silenced it, and left nothing behind but a whisper. If you've come this far, make sure you subscribe to the channel to get more updates.